The man who has been part of Football Night in America since 2009 is Tony Dungy back here on the program. How are you, Tony?
Hey, Rich, doing well, and you kind of scare me with that. It is hard to imagine. This is our 11th year on Football Night, so gosh, it's been fun, though.
You're deep into your second decade as a television broadcaster. It's amazing.
Yeah, hard to believe. You know, there's people out there, little kids now, that say, "Oh, did you used to coach? I just thought you were on TV," just like with John Madden, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, they just I've heard of that Madden guy because they play his video game. Like, no. I just have to stop them. Just say, no. Let me sit down. Let me tell you a story about John Madden. Oh man, when was the last time you got a call though from somebody knocking on your door to check on your pulse?
It was actually a little while ago. My first few years, I seemed like I'd get 2 calls every year. And then, when the Lions, Martin Mayhew was doing a search, and he asked me about a couple of names, and then he said, before we go on, just would you have any interest? And gosh, that was my dad's favorite team, and I grew up there, and said, Martin, if my dad was still alive, maybe. But that was kind of the last real serious one, and that was several years ago.
So would you say it's totally out of your blood, coaching?
Oh, yeah. No, definitely. I'm enjoying life now and love what I do, and had a great 28 years coaching, but there's none in the future, that's for sure.
28 years, huh?
Yeah.
What do you miss the most about coaching then?
I think I missed this time of year. I missed going into training camp and having 80 guys who you're trying to get the message to, and you're trying to just develop this unit that you're going to cut down to 53, but you're going to have everybody on board doing the same thing, competing for one common goal and seeing if you can get there. That time was always special to me when you'd say, hey, I think we're going to be pretty good this year. I see the eye of the tiger in this group. Those were fun times.
And what don't you miss?
I guess I don't miss the fact that when I was coaching, you never had time that you could really dedicate to yourself and your family. It wasn't that it was pressurized or you spent too much time there, because I didn't spend an over amount of time at the office. But the fact that, hey, my daughter's birthday is the 7th of September, and it doesn't matter. I know I'm going to miss her birthday party because we're either going to have a practice or a game, and there's nothing I can do about it. And that not having that flexibility in your schedule was tough.
I bet. Tony Dungy, Pro Football Hall of Famer here on the Rich Eisen Show. What do you think Frank Reich went through when he heard Andrew Luck look him in the eye, or saw Andrew Luck look him in the eye and say, no, I am not playing football anymore?
Rich, it's crazy. I was actually there 2 Thursdays ago, right before all this broke. They had Alumni Day, and I'm at training camp. A lot of our players are there. Peyton's there. I talked to Andrew for 5 minutes. All he's talking about is getting ready and getting back in the lineup. He talked to Peyton for 30 minutes about, how he did it post-injury and all those things. So never a thought of that. Now, Frank, he understood. Hey, it might be week 1, it might be week 3. We've got to get Jacoby ready, until Andrew's back. So he was kind of going through it on a short-term basis. Maybe I've got to go a week, maybe it's a month. But I'm sure it was just incredible and hard to believe when Andrew says, I think I'm done, because no one saw that coming. I mean, I couldn't fathom it when it happened.
So not even a single hint of it, and so many fans, Tony, I think this might be the last week that we do discuss it, because next week it's going to be football time, football season, rubber meeting road finally. But while I have you here, it's just difficult for fans to fathom that he would go from, say, 2 weeks before talking to you, talking to Peyton, and not giving any indication.
2 days. 2 days before.
2 days? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
This was Thursday before it happened.
So he retired on a Saturday, and he's talking to you and Peyton. I thought you said 2 days before.
Thursday. No, the Thursday before it happened, he's out there throwing like a maniac, throwing bullets 100 miles an hour, doing all these footwork drills with the rehab people. He's talking about, gosh, I'm so frustrated, I can't get out there with my guys. But I will say this, it wasn't a snap decision. This was a long-term thing in his mind, and I know he wanted to be back 100%. The thing that frustrated him, and what Frank told me, that was so frustrating. The doctors are saying we don't see what's causing this pain. You should be better than this now. You shouldn't be feeling any pain, and he was. So I'm sure in his mind, am I ever going to get back to full strength? Am I ever going to be 100%? But I can sympathize with that because Coach Knoll, who coached me, he always used to say that this is a game for the committed. And if there's any doubt in your mind that you want to be out there, you shouldn't be out there because it takes everything in you to give your team what you need to give them. And I think that's where Andrew was. If I can't give them my best, then I don't want to be out there.
Tony Dungy, Pro Football Hall of Famer, here on the Rich Eisen Show. So last thing for you on this, have you spoken to Reich and or Irsay or anybody else in the organization since this?
I haven't spoken to them since it took place, but I'll tell you, Frank is the perfect guy for this situation. He was in that role as a backup quarterback for a long time. He had to come in certain spots for Jim Kelly. And when he came in, the game plan was a little bit different. It was tailored to what he could do well, but he had utmost confidence in himself. His team had confidence in him, and when he went in, they played well. And I know that's what he's going to get across to the team. Hey, we'll do things a little bit different for Jacoby, but we feel good about the game plan we've got for him. And he is a good player, and this is his time to step up and shine and lead. So Frank, having been in that situation, he'll handle it well. And I can tell you this, the team does have confidence in Jacoby. No doubt about it.
Well, and the line is terrific. The defense is ready to roll.
Yeah.
They've got skilled position players all over the map. Tony, before you joined in the first hour of the show, I chose the Colts to win the division. I still think they win this division. Tony, what do you think?
I think they will. And Jacoby, the thing people have to understand, this wasn't Andrew Luck practicing, playing, and then one day deciding to retire a week before the season started. Jacoby Brissett has been the number one quarterback ever since the first day of OTAs. So he's gotten all the work. Everything's been tailored to him. And in Frank Reich's mind, it was, when do I go back to the Andrew Luck game plan? But for 20 weeks now, they've been in the Jacoby Brissett game plan. So I think that's going to be a benefit to them.
Also, earlier, I chose as my MVP Patrick Mahomes in back-to-back years. Tony,
wow.
I know that is a wow. But I really think that the kid is that talented and that good that what we saw last year was not an outlier and that he is in the hands of Andy Reid and that offense ready to roll again, barring injury. I wonder what you think about that, and if not him, then who?
Well, he is special, and I'll tell you, I was so impressed with him last year. Not the 50 touchdowns, not all the great throws, but processing the offense. And Andy didn't hold things back. He didn't say, this is a first-year starter, so I'm only going to put in 80% of my stuff. I mean, they were doing different things week in and week out. He was processing it, time, score, point in the game, all of those things like a veteran. So I'm with you. I thought maybe not having Kareem Hunt, who was so strong in the running game, that may be a factor. But they've got all that weaponry back, and Andy Reid knows how to get the most out of quarterbacks. So I see another, unless there's an injury, I see a 45-touchdown pass season again.
Yeah, and then that would make him an MVP candidate for sure. So then, if not him, then who do you think has an MVP type campaign in him, ready to be on court next week?
You know, if you told me to pick Patrick Mahomes or any other individual, I'd go with Patrick. You know, you have to throw into the Tom Brady's. Gosh, who else could, give you that type of year?
Well, I mean, you've got
maybe Jared Goff.
Sure, yeah. You've got Wentz being mentioned quite a bit, Tony, because of.
But he's got to stay healthy. He's got to play a full year, and that right now is a question mark. If he does, I think he's going to play great ball. I think Philadelphia is going to have a good team. But it's almost, in this day and age, it's almost certainly going to be a quarterback, and it's going to be a quarterback off a team that wins a division. So those are the guys you have to look at.
Do you think the Cowboys need Zeke week one, period, to win a Super Bowl this year, Tony?
I don't think they do. I think they could win it without him being there all the time, but I think when you get to the playoffs, he's got to be up and running and ready to go. I think they can compete. They can get in the playoffs even if he's not there the whole time. but I don't think they could go those 4 weeks against the top teams without him.
Okay, and then your Super Bowl prediction that I'm sure you'll be asked for your football night in America next week.
You know what? I honestly, Rich, don't have one yet. I'm so disappointed in watching this preseason. I don't know who's going to be good and who isn't. I haven't seen enough real football from anybody to say, oh, yeah, I like where they are. So I'm going to have to wait. I'm going to talk to you in 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, I think that's the way of the world now, though, Tony. I don't think you're going to see you're not going to see any real preseason football maybe ever again. I don't think.
And maybe that's okay with the way off-season programs are now and these OTAs and everything. Maybe we don't need it, and we should do away with it. But I'll tell you, I have not been able to glean anything from this preseason so far.
I agree. I haven't either. That's why I'm sitting here thinking MVP. I got to go with the kid last year whose window I think is just beginning to crack even. And then division winners. I'm trying to swap a few up. It's very difficult to get that to get there, and that's in the predicting business. I wonder, what is it like in the coaching business, do you think?
You can tell by the way your team is practicing, how they're going to be. I saw the Cleveland Browns. I was up there in Indianapolis, and they were working against the Browns. And, I've heard all this hype about Cleveland. And you could see the talent level. I mean, I watched Baker Mayfield, and I was impressed. Those wide receivers are special. They've got some guys on defense who can bring it. So, you see all that, and you say, yeah, there are pieces to the puzzle here that look very good. But what is going to happen when you get that injury, when you face a little adversity, when you miss a field goal to win a game? How is this group going to respond to adversity? And that's what we don't know.
And have you ever had somebody that's come up to you and say, I'm not playing without my helmet that I like so much? Tony, is that even a new one for you?
That would be a new one. Everybody's got something that helps them tick. And, we had guys that had their favorite shoulder pads and their favorite helmet and their favorite shoes. And if all of that. But what has to trigger to you, and I used to say it all the time when our personnel people would come to me, so-and-so, they want to give us this player, and he's great. And I would say, okay, why are they trying to help us? This player is so good. Why are they giving him to us, and what's the catch? And to me, that had, if you're the Oakland Raiders, you have to think that. Here's a man who catches 100 balls every year. He goes for 1,400 to 1,800 yards, and he scores 15 touchdowns every year. Why are they giving him to us? And maybe it comes with a little buyer beware.
A couple more minutes left with Tony Dungy, not only Pro Football Hall of Famer, but spokesman for the fatherhood program, All Pro Dad. And you're here to not just talk about that, but also, are you promoting a movie, Tony? Do you have a movie that
we're teaming up. There's a movie called Overcomer. It's a great movie about a high school coach. He's in a small town and loves basketball. That's his thing. And his team gets gutted because the number one employer in town moves out. He loses all his kids. They lose a lot of enrollment. And he ends up having to coach cross country. And he coaches a girls cross country team. And so his identity goes from, hey, I'm the state championship caliber basketball coach to I've got to do something I don't even know I can do. And it's just a great lesson for men, and that's why our fatherhood program is teaming up with it, that, hey, we don't want to be identified by what we do. We want to be identified by who we help and how we do things. So
it's Overcomer, which is in theaters right now. It was released released last week. Mm-hmm. Okay, and so this is something that you hooked up with. Did you walk a red carpet for this, Tony? Did you?
I did not, but no. All Pro Dad, the charity that I work with, we've kind of teamed up with the Overcomer Project, and the Kendricks brothers have put out a bunch of films like this, War Room, and this is just the latest one. It's really special, and we're just encouraging men to take it in and see what they can learn from it.
Yeah, hosting experiences for dads and kids at NFL and college football stadiums, connecting families with children who need fostering or adopting. That's the All Pro Dad program, and Overcomer, again, in theaters right now, was released last week. The sixth film from the Kendrick brothers.
Yes.
Tony, have a great season. You're going to? Will you be in Chicago?
We will. I'm actually leaving Tuesday. I might have to get out a little earlier, depending on what they're saying for this weather down here in Florida. But yet, we'll be there Thursday night. Looking forward to kicking off the 100th season of NFL football.
Yeah, I just had Aaron Rodgers on, and man, I can't wait to see Packers Bears just to start this with the new Packers offense for the first time in over a dozen years, a different scheme, one would think, and then the Bears without Vic Fangio. I'm wondering what the Bears defense looks like. Maybe Carly Lloyd will be kicking field goals for them by then. I don't know. It's really crazy, right?
No, it is, and I can't wait to see it, to see some real football and to answer some of these questions. What is that offense really going to look like? Is the Bears' defense going to be as good? Will Mitch Trubisky make the next step? And, how does this rivalry and 100-year celebration and Packers-Bears, are we going to get an upset? Will Green Bay be able to come in and derail the Bears early on? So it's going to be fun. We'll be there with NBC and looking forward to it.
Tony, be safe with the weather with you and your family, and I look forward to chatting with you down the line in the season.
Sounds good, Rich. In 3 weeks, I'll tell you who I think is going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay, I will speak to you in 3 weeks. I'm going to hold you to that. Right. So look for my phone call.
Good.
You got it. Same here. That's Pro Football Hall of Famer Tony Dungy, at Tony Dungy on Twitter. There's an underscore in between the names on Instagram. And check out Overcomer in theaters now, along with the All Pro Dad program.
For more of The Rich Eisen Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV for free on BR Live or download The Rich Eisen Show app.